Right, now, we are going to head over to Cyberpunk. Yes, we've got a pre-recorded read from the Cyberpunk. So, let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Justin Villiers. I'm the UK's lead voice director for Cyberpunk 2077. I'm not directing today, as you'll see. I'm going to read the stage directions of the scene that we're going to do for you from Cyberpunk with the original actors who I have with me. We have Jane Perry with us. She plays Rogue. You probably all know this. We have Cherami Lee, who plays female V. And they're going to be doing the first time that they meet in the game. It's a situation where, just to sum up very quickly, it's a situation where female V needs to get to a particular person who can help her, and the point of contact that she has is Rogue. So she needs to go to see Rogue and try and get the information that she needs. And that's where we're going to start. I'll read the stage directions. Everybody ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. I've got stuff down here written I could read out, but okay, here we go. Scene: V approaches Rogue, who sizes up V carefully, keeping the distance between them.
Not here, not there. Who are you?
Name's V.
And what is it you want, V?
V stands before Rogue, trying to convince her to help.
Need your services. Gotta track a guy down.
Mm-hmm.
Anders Hellman, hotshot engineer. Worked for Arasaka.
Checking the info on her tech.
Millisec. Anders Hellman. Pinpoint him for me.
Thanks.
Jumping too soon. First, my help's got a price. Second and third, Dexter Deshawn, Jackie Wells, T-Bug. Multiple bells ringing, V. Left a lot of bodies behind. Death walks in your wake. Chalk that up to bad luck?
V stands before Rogue, trying to convince her to help. Johnny observes the situation.
They knew the risks. All sorts of shit happens. To all sorts of people. Even to the best. To you too, Rogue. Arasaka Tower. Remember? Who'd you lose back then?
You came to prepped. Of course. But feelings be damned, I've always said. This is pure biz. You need my help? So get those eddies ready.
The dialogue branches depending on whether V has the cash now to pay. In this case, V doesn't have the cash.
Uh-huh. And if I don't have the scratch, it's fuck off and have a nice day?
Well, no, more like come back when you do. Them's the breaks.
Then, see ya. Soon.
You know where to find me.
Having found a way to use both V and Panam, Rogue decides to help V. She invites her to sit at the table.
Sit.
The player has a choice of whether to sit down.
Gonna sit down? My time's pretty valuable, V.
A waitress brings drinks. Rogue speaks to the waitress.
Bottle stays.
Rogue thanks her netrunner for the help and for bringing the chip.
Thanks, Nix.
Johnny observes Rogue carefully, noting how important she is at the afterlife. Rogue hands the chip to V.
Slot it.
V hesitates to slot the chip for it, because it might have a virus.
Go ahead, slot it in the shard. It's clean.
The player has a choice to insert the chip or not. In this case, the player chooses to insert the chip. V takes the chip from Rogue and slots it into her head port. Rogue observes the material on Helm and explains it to V. V sees visualizations on her HUD.
Your Hellman's not on my payroll, not officially anyway. But he does pop up in Jian T's confidential stacks. It's a Kang Tao subsidiary, Chinese corp. Yang Tao's been using them as a fig leaf for years. Their mask for more sensitive operations.
Probably keeping him hidden from Arasaka. Must have worked on a top secret project.
Hidden from Arasaka or any other corp that wants what he knows, without going through all the bother of actually hiring him.
Think you can track him down?
Getting a mark on him ought to be easy. Actually grabbing him? Another story entirely.
Must be prepping him for a transfer.
How would you know?
Chinese corpo playbook's an open one to me. This looks like the vanishing old pigeon.
V sees the convoy routes.
Decrypted map of upcoming Kang Tao convoy routes.
Think Hellman might be one of them. Thing is, which one?
Take a look at the specs on this one. A lone AV, no ground support. No linked cargo manifests either. Sure, Kang Tao sometimes transports stuff unregistered if they want to push it under the table, but
V sees a cross-section of an AV and its technical parameters. Everything's visualized via the chip.
catch the load on this AV. Already approved in the system, but too low. So definitely no cargo on board. But there's a passenger list. Kang Tao security detail plus 1 VIP. Transfer from Chianti.
Our boy Hellman.
That was the good news.
So what's the bad news?
Bad news is the extraction site. Look, Night City airspace, all this.
No way to jack the transport without the NCPD picking up on it.
Commenting on the area displayed on the map.
And here, we're too close to Kang Tao. We even give that AV a dirty look, their backup hustle will be on us.
Zooming in on part of the map.
But right there is Jackson Plains. Narrow corridor just outside of the city and just outside of Kang Tao's reach.
Dead zone. I'll grab him there.
Gonna need a native to the area, someone who'll set up the op, cobble together the gear.
V and Rogue discuss the details of the plan to intercept Hellman.
What kind of gear are we talking?
Cruising speed of an AV like that, that's 150 miles an hour. Ever tried to grab anything moving that fast? Even tracking her will be difficult. Plus, this model packs next-gen defenses.
So without real firepower, I'll be able to wave Hellman as he zips past.
It's not about firepower. There are ways and people who know them, or who at least can improvise on a theme.
So, a native. Know any hick mercs?
Just one. Panam Palmer. She can count on her clan. She can't count on her clan anymore, but she's a true nomad. She knows those lands, and she will help you. She won't have a choice.
Won't have a choice. That does not sound enticing. Not for her, not for me.
Enticing comes at a price you can't possibly afford.
I can't possibly afford to blow this chance at nabbing Hellman.
Your operation? Your call.
Why's Panam gotta help me? I sense a catch. Pretty big one.
Occasionally, Panam moves merch for me. Last job wasn't, well, it wasn't a good day for her.
She ran into a hitch?
Complete bust, actually. Lost the goods and her ride. Panam will do anything to get the load back. Means her dignity. I know her.
Okay. Guess I can try to help her. But if we don't know where to look, I mean...
We do. I do.
Fine. Let me hear what you know.
Rocky Ridge, ghost town just outside of Night City. Panam knows where. You'll go there, get the merch back, wheels too. Naturally, you'll call her first, sending your deets.
All clear. Thanks.
Good luck.
Very good. The end of the scene. Fantastic. Well done, both. It's really lovely to hear both of your voices together. I have to say, I've played game through, but I haven't seen that with your voice, only with Gavin's.
Yeah.
And it sounds excellent. The two of you are both trying to kind of out-cool each other in that situation. It's really nice. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about stuff now. I know, Cherami, you've done loads of games. Jane, of course, you've done loads of games. Probably a question to start with, I guess, and we'll talk about other things. But the change in characterization of female characters, has it been evident to you as you know, from over the time that you've been working in games? Jane, shall we start with you?
I think it has, you know. I mean, I remember the first game I did, I played a sort of military type woman, and the way I was directed to play that character was just to kind of shout absolutely everything. And I remember thinking, oh, I wonder, and it was the writer who was directing me, and I thought, gosh, I wonder if he doesn't have faith in my authority as a woman, just sort of playing the lines in a kind of more nuanced way. And I kind of had this feeling like maybe he feels that he needs to layer something on top of this character and just make her yell everything, you know, to give her power. And I sort of feel like maybe there has been a kind of, and this is probably about, oh, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago. And I think maybe that there has been more trust put in women in games to be these strong lead characters, and just letting them be themselves and who they are, without kind of having to put on all kinds of layers of kind of performative power, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I think the women that we're seeing are much more nuanced now.
Yeah, I think that's from my observation too, is that you kind of allow the women to be real. I think that's kind of what you're saying, is that they don't have to be you know, shouty sergeant majors or anything like that. They can just be ordinary women with insecurities just like anybody else, and yet they can still be powerful and still be in charge. Cherami, what about yourself?
Yeah, very much the same. I was having a conversation with another actor sort of about the same thing, and we were discussing why we think there's been such a change, or when we started seeing a change, and starting to see women that are on the production side creating these characters, I think has helped inform these more nuanced characters. Also, just games being far more cinematic. It feels like you're watching a movie, and because of that, we have the opportunity to give a more nuanced cinematic performance, because the incredible animatics and the beautiful cutscenes really lend itself to, we don't need to push or put something on, because there's so many other factors that are giving this great story to the player. But yeah, we were saying it's so nice getting to see characters that don't look the exact same way. They have a variety of body types. They have a variety of different voices. They have a variety of different looks to them. And it's beginning to sort of kind of match.
Yeah, women. I think it's certainly, it's more recently with that, I've noticed is the body type thing, which has always been a problem because of the kind of cliches of strong female protagonists have been that she needs to look like a Olympic gymnast kind of thing. But this is starting to change. Some of that, I'm not sure I'm allowed to mention other games in this, maybe not, but it has started to change. I'm sure you two are both aware of that. But whether it's body type or the way people speak, or it's starting to reflect the real world a lot more, which is excellent. Why don't I ask you about just kind of broaden out a little, other characters that you played. Is there anything memorable that you can talk to us about, either of you?
Hey, that's a memorable moment. What's happening right now?
I know you.
I know you.
What are you doing there?
I don't know.
That is strange. I thought that you two might be the same person, just dressed differently and doing a different voice, but you're actually two people.
Yeah.
I should just, for the tape or whatever, I should introduce Gavin Drea, who plays Melvy in Cyberpunk 2077. Here he is. And I don't know, have you two met before, Gavin and Cherami?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we did something a while back. But how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I was supposed to be like shocked and surprised and be like, who is this person? But I got so excited to see you, and I forgot everything that I had been told about how to respond.
Okay, I think we're all
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm really, really good. Yeah. Hi, Jane. Nice to meet you.
Hello, nice to meet you too. Pleasure.
Big fan. How are you doing?
Likewise.
Really you two not met before either. Okay,
No.
that's nice.
Oh no.
Okay, great. Okay, so just as to warm into this, Gavin, where are you? Are you allowed to say where you are or what you're doing? You can just be vague.
I think so. Yeah, I'm actually in New Orleans, in America. Yeah. So I'm doing some filming here for an Amazon show. So just out here for a couple of weeks. It's an amazing place. It's a wonderful city. It's one of the best towns. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Good. So I'm just going to now we brought you in. We just ran a scene, the introduction to when you first meet Rogan's story. I think I'm going to go straight in with this, and this is really for Cherami and Gavin to talk about. And it was the experience of us having to match the pacing of another person's performance, which is very, very difficult, of course, because I mean, again, I'm assuming that everybody knows how video games work, that there are particular sound files, and if you're going to choose to be a male or a female character, the sound file needs to be the same length. So the performances have to match in a certain way. Even though we didn't want the performances to be at all copied from each other, we were kind of tied or restrained by that fact. Why don't you go first, Cherami? Just because Gavin can collect his thoughts then.
Yeah, I actually love getting to do that when I've worked on JRPGs or other games like that, where I will have a Japanese audio file that I have to match, or a Chinese file that I have to match the pace of, but still make it my own, because obviously I'm sharing this character with another actor, but we want them to be while living in the same place of integrity. We're two different people. And if we're just trying to copy each other, it's not going to feel like an authentic performance. So it's finding that balance of going, this is how much time I have. That's great. Now, how do I interpret this line? And it's really fun, because there were times where if Gavin had recorded first, the file would be longer or the file would be shorter. And so then you kind of have like an improv experience where it's like, nope, new choice. And how can you interpret what he did and the link that he had and make it truthful to how I'm playing this character. And so it kind of keeps you on your toes, and it's a really fun, like, well, that's not going to work. Cool. Let's try this again. And it really keeps that collaborative energy and that process going, which is a really fun challenge to do. But when it fits, everybody is so excited. And there were a couple of times where you and I would be right on first try, and they stopped playing you for me first, and then would just say, like, let's see how it lines up. And they would go, you guys were exactly the same. So there were a couple moments where I was like, oh my gosh, this is where we come together, and this is like the core of it, which was really cool.
Great. Okay. Gav, do you want to pick up on that?
Yeah, similar experience. So Justin was my director in London, and so his process was, he had a really big stick, and he would just kind of hit me again and again until I got it right. So that was our was that right, or something like that?
Yeah, it wasn't really big stick. It was a fairly medium size, I think.
No, it's exactly the same. I mean, in that kind of process, we would sometimes, kind of just be very conscious of like not wanting to copy it, as you said. So a lot of the times, we wouldn't kind of play the file. We would just kind of, in fact, like you said, we would often, I would kind of take 3 stabs at it, and most of the time, we'd be.
I think Gavin's frozen.
Oh
no.
Actually,
frozen. There we are. Sorry, you just froze for a moment. But
I dropped out. Sorry, bad Wi-Fi here, probably. So no, I think there was kind of a process where after a couple of attempts, maybe it'd be like, oh, Cherami's a little bit faster on this line, or maybe a little bit slower. So that'd be kind of such a kind of broad kind of note that you'd be like, oh, great. So, I'd kind of have a choice of maybe where to take a little extra pause or we're moving along.
Exactly. I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on. Go.
No. I think, and then so sometimes it's like, okay, and I would do it again, but it's like, it would be a lot quicker or it'd be a lot longer. So I'm like, all right, okay, and then we kind of play it, and that was fun because then I'd get to hear Cherami like, oh, okay, you do it. All right, that's a different way, and it's amazing. What's amazing about sharing something like that is you just, actors are so different. It's a bit like theater in that sense, where you could see somebody play Hamlet a different way, and then you're going to do it yourself, and it's like, oh wow, I that's so different my interpretation or whatever. So it's a bit of a treat when you get those moments. And yeah, it's fun.
I think there were a lot of times where we would have to kind of rethink moments in the story because we had an idea of how to play a scene, and you would have done it already, Cherami, and because of the way that you were playing, actually relevant to the stuff that I was saying about being able to put in lots of noise, lots of kind of verbal stuff, which isn't necessarily the text. We would have a very long kind of 30 seconds or something with like 2 words in, and we'd be thinking, right, okay, and you'd fill it with stuff, and then it was up to us to take over and then to find some stuff to put in the 30 seconds, just like you. So there was lots of challenges like that, which was enjoyable. Yeah. And what I'm going to add, to be fairly honest, I don't think this is controversial. It's just kind of a normal thing. But sometimes when we were getting notes back from the studio, CD Projekt Red, I don't know whether this was the case for you, Cherami, but we would get notes back saying, could you play it a bit more like Cherami, please? And did that work the other way around?
There were a couple times I remember they would say like, we loved this moment. It would be like, we loved this moment that Gavin took, or could you find a way to take that same moment and take the time, but make it, they were like, the way that he did it is not going to work the way you did it. So find a way to, which was kind of a fun thing, sort of like what you were saying, Gavin, about working in theater. Like if you've got to hit the blocking in a certain way, because that's where an actor did it in a previous performance, and it has to happen in that moment. It's up to you to go, well, how do I justify making these same decisions, taking these same pauses, making these same moves, because this has to happen for the story, but making it true to what I've done for the rest of the game.
Yeah. And also I think it's a thing where sometimes maybe we'd be recording some of the scenes in a bit of a vacuum, maybe plot wise, because some of them are coming out of order. So maybe it was just a case of, it's often like when you do self-tapes and auditions, and sometimes you can kind of accidentally stumble on the right way of doing something, and they'll, maybe they come back then with it was like that way. It was kind of that interpretation of what we had in mind. You're like, oh yeah, right, okay, fine. So it's just give and take, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was an excellent process like that, because generally there would be moments, as we all know, because it's a very complicated story, with real complicated emotions for all the characters. I mean, it involves suicide and so on, and giving up, and coming to the end of one's life. So I think that when we would listen to some of your performance, Cherami, and then we would discover new stuff all the time, which was fantastic. And that's a kind of unique thing to the situation that we find ourselves in with video games. Yeah. That you have 2 performances, same characters, same lines, and yet they can be entirely different.
Wow.
Incredible stuff there.
Yeah, and of course we are here for one sole reason. Well, no, 2 reasons. One, to have a really awesome, fun time.
Yep.
And just being a bit nerdy about video games.
Tick that off.
What's most days. Whether I was here or not, that'd be happening. But number 2 is, of course, raise money. So we're going to tell you how you can go donate for this very, very worthy cause. Yes, go to sideglobal.com/Ukraine with the hashtag Operation Ukraine as well. And we've raised so far £36,000, which means we are like well close to getting to that 50k goal. I know we can do it.